Hey, it's aMaYa. Welcome back to aMaYa's Take. And today, there's no quote of the day. Well, no, I take that back. There is a quote of the day. So the quote of the day is, "Comparison is the thief of joy." And so that's the quote of the day. So let's get into the topic. So we're going to talk about the power of purpose, because that's just something that is on my heart to talk about. And and I don't have any notes or anything like that, so I'm just free. I'm just speaking freely. And I want to say the only way, there was a point in my life where I felt very lost and very like I did not know where I was going. And I want to say that was like a few years ago. That was probably I want to say like 2019 to 2020 was like around the time where I really did not know what I was doing and really was just like guessing, right? And it wasn't until I started this YouTube channel and podcast that I really found my purpose. And what I mean by that is, I've always kind of known my purpose from a little girl. I've always loved to help people. That's just been something I've wanted to do my whole life, is help people, whether it be with advice or anything. I've always been a person who I get in people's business and tell people what they're doing wrong. Like, I'm very bossy. So, I mean, that's just who I am. And so, and I didn't really know that correlated to my purpose. But when I was probably like a senior in high school, which is in like, which is in 2018, I had a classmate, like I'm gonna paint a picture for you guys. So we went on this, we went on this retreat, right? And so it was our senior retreat. And at the very end of it, we had these bags, these brown paper bags, and we wrote our names on them and we decorated them. And we put the like month in the year, I think like the date or something like that. And so then they were all lined up in these like rows. And the whole purpose was to have index cards or piece of paper and write affirmations to each person in the class. And you could go around as many times and write however many affirmations that you wanted to. And so back then, I remember thinking, my bag is not going to be filled with anything, because I thought so low of myself. And I feel like I still to this day struggle with feeling inferior or just feeling really low about certain things, right? Like, I still struggle with that. So I'm working on that. But I remember like I thought so low of myself, and then I was like, nobody really like, thinks anything of me like that. So I did not expect anything to be in there. So when I got it back, I remember I didn't read anything until I got on the bus to go back home, right? Because I was like, I'm not gonna do this here. So I remember I just was like, let me look inside this bag. I kid you not, I had so many nice affirmations written down that I was super shocked. I was super surprised. And so then after that, I'm reading one of them, and one of them in particular says, and I'm not gonna know it verbatim, but it basically said, aMaYa, you have a voice, use it. And that one right there, it made me cry, because I have a speech impediment. As y'all know, I've been stuttering off and on. Like, I have a speech impediment. So I've always been kind of unsure about my voice, and I've always kind of, you know, kind of shied away from using my voice. And I don't like, and I would never speak up, and I would never, rarely, I would speak up for myself. On very rare occasions, I would do that. And so that one, it really was like, wow, people see something in me that I don't even see in myself. And so I said it all to say, um, your purpose is something that you cannot run away from as much as you might want to try to. Like, if you can't run, you can't run away from it. Now, how I started to live in my purpose, and this is how you become more fulfilled in life. So even from then, like, I was clueless about, okay, well, it wasn't like, oh, now I know, like, I have to do this, like, podcast and YouTube. No, 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 no. It happened very slowly because I didn't like, like, I just started this podcast not too, like, maybe a year ago in February. So, sorry, I'm coughing. but I started this podcast not too long ago, and I'm 22, and that was when I was 18. So I don't even think I was 18 yet. I think I was like 17. But anyways, so it's not like a light bulb clicked. That's not how it happened. So, or at least it didn't happen like that for me. So I remember I am just, so after that, I'm like, oh, that was great. Like, I felt so good about myself. I read those things. I was like, oh, this is so nice. That's great. I was crying while reading it. Okay. So fast forward to I'm in, so fast forward to college. This is like 2018, 2019. I got around these group of people who kind of didn't make me feel good about myself. And this is no shade to those people or anything. I was around a group of people who they didn't know their purpose. And so when you know that you're like here for a reason and you're walking in that, and then you're kind of around people who don't and who are clueless as to what they're doing, and they're just walking through life without really a guide, then you start to act like those people that you are around. It doesn't make me better than them, and it doesn't make them worse than me, or vice versa. It's just different, right? And when you're different from people, sometimes people, they'll be like, she's weird, and I am weird, I'm very different. I'm very passionate about things, and and I love deeply, and I have big ideas. And so, being 18 and kind of having that inner confidence about myself that I didn't even really see or even notice. I think to a point, I think it made them feel uneasy because, like, they didn't have that, like, within themselves. Because there were just certain things that I was not going to do, and they would make me feel bad about it. And so, then I would start to question myself and question, like, who I am as a person, and start to make compromises and start to act out of character. And that's not like me. And over time, I start to build myself on what these people are saying, and it's not true. And so that's why it's so important to get around the right kind of people that can help you along this journey. And I used to be the only one that was just so wise in my group of friends. And I used to be like, oh, I'm the wisest one. Baby, if you are the smartest, and I'm putting air quotes around smart, but if you are the smartest, air quotes, person in the room, that's a problem. You need to be around people who can pour into you, and you can pour into them as well. And so, equally yoked. It says that in the Bible. Now, I don't read my Bible every day. I don't be doing all that. But But let me tell you, the Bible be right about a lot of stuff. And even if you're not a Christian, I suggest y'all to pick up a Bible, or to at least Google stuff about our relationships, because the Bible is the key to a lot of this stuff. And it's like, wow. So anyways, I'm talking about relationships, and I'm talking about being equally yoked with the people that you're around. We were not equally yoked. We were not at all equally yoked, of me and these people at all. and so when that happens, something got to give. And if you're one person against a whole group of people that are not equally yoked, there's only so much you can do, right? And I would stand strong so much. I would try and stand strong, but there's only so much. And so I would start to, like, my light would kind of just like dim, and it would kind of like fade away. And then I don't even recognize myself. I look at old pictures of myself and old videos of myself, and I'm like, baby girl, like, you did not know who you were. And so therefore you just chose anybody. And that goes for any relationship, friendships, romantic relationships. That goes for any of them. If you don't know who you are, anybody can tell you who you are. And that's a no-go. You should not give another person that power at all. Because I was giving it to other people. Like, I was giving that power to somebody else. And that should never be given to anybody else. And so fast forward to, it's like in 2020, I'm pretty sure, or 2021, I think. 2020 or 2021, I just remember feeling really upset, like almost like depressive, and just having kind of like this like lack of motivation, right? And it wasn't until I was separated from this group of people in 2020 that I start to realize and see my own power. But it didn't even really click to me like that. Like, it didn't even really click to me until, I get back to school in 2021. And me and this person, we meet up. And then I just start to be like, and I start to hear stuff differently, because I was separated from those people. And they're not bad people. People will teach you things. So when I was separated from them, and I had time to be by myself and really know myself, and have time to think about, okay, what do I want? And to not listen to them and the outside noise, right? And I was like, okay, what do I want? And I allowed God to speak to me. No, I'm not crazy, because God speaks to everyone. That little voice inside your head, whether you believe in God or not, is God. That is the Holy Spirit guiding you. And it's not just this like big old voice. It's like, do this, do that. No. It's this inward feeling of peace and knowing, and just a conviction to know this is what I have to do. And so I went into that semester just having like a conviction of like I will no longer live my life for somebody else. Unknowingly to me, deep down, I didn't consciously go in there with that thought. I went in there subconsciously with that thought. And so when I'm meeting up with this person, I start hearing that person differently. And it was something that the person said, you've changed. And I asked the question, I said, how so? And I was quiet. And this person was just listing off things that were good about me, that I missed about me. And I'm like, why is it the very thing that was good about me and that I liked about myself, that person disliked and thought of it as a negative? And then I'm like, hold up, hold up, hold up. That person is telling me exactly what they feel about me. They do not care for me. They do not love me, and they do not like me. And then in that moment, I was like, I'm done. I didn't verbally say it, but like in my mind, I said, I'm done. I'm done with being around people who do not see my value. And it turned very quickly to me. I saw my value in that moment, and I was like, I have to be stronger than needing validation from other people. I had to be stronger than that. And I had to say, you know what? If I got to be by myself, I'd rather be by myself than be around people who despise me. And so for that whole year, and then some, I was by myself. And that was the hardest thing. When I tell you, I was so used to having people around me, to having people to go somewhere with. That was the hardest time for me because I did not know how to appreciate my own presence. I did not know how to be by myself. I would be so disgusted with just being by myself, like, and I would feel so bad. And I even have a video on here on YouTube where I'm upset and crying about that, but then at the end it's a happy happy vibe, so whatever. But it was a point in time where I could not sit with myself. Like I just could not do it. And so, but guess what? Over time, I I I found a peace in that. I found a peace in being able to go out to eat by myself, to go and work out by myself. And so much so I started to enjoy my own peace and my own presence just around myself. I started to be like, you know what? I'm good by myself. And it wasn't until I became content and happy and not even content, enjoyed being by myself, to where then I got the friends that I had been praying for. Because so in 2022 at the beginning, I was in this program or whatever, and at the school, and it was just like it happened so naturally. I met these three people. They knew who they are, and we all clicked. And it was like, and it was just like, oh my gosh, I met the people that I've always wanted to be around my whole entire like college career. These are the friends I was looking for. But it wasn't until I got content and happy in being by myself and with myself and not feeling lonely, but just saying, you know what, this is my time period to be by myself and to really appreciate that time, right? And so then I met these other people, and they poured into me. Everything I loved about myself, they loved about me, and we were all just like the best semester ever. Like it was the best semester ever. And I was like, this is so great. This is what I've wanted. And so shortly after that semester, I had to transfer schools. And I was so upset about that. And now that I have hindsight, you know what? I'm like, it was best that, like, you know, it was that time period. It was that semester for me because now I still am learning how to stand on my own and to not depend on somebody else in that way. Because you can get caught up in just depending on people to kind of like uplift you, and you have to be able to do that on your own. And so I like to say I feel like I'm the queen of doing that, and you have to be able to not to just be okay with being by yourself. And I'm still learning that, you know, still learning that. And even much so now, I want to be in a relationship, but in a like romantic relationship, because there's many different types of relationships, but I want to be in a romantic one. And I keep wondering, why am I not? And it's because that relationship, you need to be able to not put so much on that other person, to be your everything, to, you don't need to do that with the other person. You don't. And so it and so it's not until I learn to 100% stand on my own 2 feet, until is when I'm gonna find that person. Or no, that person gonna find me. Okay, that person gonna find me where I'm at. Okay, because in the Bible, I'm gonna get biblical on you. They had this, I forgot the woman's name, but she found, or Boaz found her where she was at. Boaz found her doing her purpose. And so that's what's gonna happen for me. And when you're just in your purpose, there's a different light that just comes around you. There's a different energy that you have, and there's a light that you exude from within. And what I'm realizing is, you don't want someone that is going to compete with you. You want a person who is going to compliment you, and not even complete you, because you should be your own person, like a whole person. And we are whole people, and we should be able to be secure enough in ourselves and whole enough in ourselves to be like, hey, this person is just an addition to me. Like, just an addition to the happiness that I already give myself. So yeah, so going back to purpose, and finding it. When I started this channel, I think in 2020, during the Panda Express, that's an inside joke for me, but during the Panda Express, I just remember I started it because I wanted to help people, and I wanted to help myself, more importantly too, because I was just at a low point to where, like, I was feeling bad about the way that I looked. I was feeling bad about just me. Like, I just wasn't feeling that great about myself. And so I was like, you know what? I got to do something. I can't just sit around and do nothing. And I had no idea that maybe 2 years later I would be creating a podcast and doing this. And, and I even noticed then I would do a sit down video, and I'm like, I talk way too much. Like, I talk way too much to be, to just be in front of this camera talking. I'm like, there needs to be another avenue for this. And a podcast never came to my mind at that time because it wasn't time for it. But I stayed doing this. I knew I needed to do this. I needed to do YouTube. I needed to get my voice out there, because there's nobody that's going to speak like me and put out what I put out. And my voice needs to be heard. Like in that little message that I got, my voice needs to be heard. And even a thing you think that is so negative about yourself is like, oh, I talk too much. Like, I overtalk people. Like, I just talk a lot. Even that one thing can be turned into something very positive and can be helpful to another person. And so your pain can be someone's positive thing. So pain turned positivity, because we do not suffer for no reason. We suffer so that we can help other people. And everyone suffers in a different way, which is so beautiful about the world. And if we talked to each other more, we would realize that that it's not just us going through stuff by ourselves. There are countless people who are currently now going through things. And if we just sit and we talk with people and we get connected with people, the world would be so much nicer and just more whole. And I think people wouldn't be hurting as much if we just listened to each other, and if we just were more vulnerable to a certain extent, because you cannot be telling everybody your business to a certain extent. Okay. But if we all just opened up a little bit and said, hey, this is kind of what I've been through and this is how I made it out, other people could learn from that and could heal from that. And so that's why I do this, is because I want people to not hurt like I hurt, and I want to help people to not be hurt anymore. And so everyone's purpose is different, but also the same. And in the purpose, at the end of the day, is for you to be who you are unapologetically and live in that confidence and joy and that in just who you were created to be, because I see a lot in the world that people are just walking around wanting to be other people. And that's a life that is so sad. When you walk around wishing to be another thing, you lose yourself and you become so depressed and so upset and you compare yourself. And that is the thief of joy. Comparison it takes so much from us. Like, it literally does. And I feel like I'm guilty of it too, but you have to be content with yourself. You need to accept yourself. You have to do what you got to do to accept yourself, because self-acceptance is a superpower. Self-love is a superpower, because when you accept yourself and love yourself, nothing else anyone says can tear you down. They cannot destroy you. And for those of y'all that are listening, I highly encourage you guys to really get to know yourself, find out what you like, find out what you don't like, and stand on that. Stand on those things and do not waver from them, and be assertive with that. And I'm learning that too. I'm learning to be assertive and say what I need, say what I want, and say what I like, and speak with conviction, because I noticed things don't happen, things don't move until you stand up to them and speak with assertion and knowing and conviction that, no, I don't want this for me anymore. This will not be anymore. And you have to really stand on that and believe. Belief is the strongest thing in the world. Believing that you can is literally 80% of getting that job done. The other 20% is just doing it. And a lot of times we will psych our own self out and talk ourselves out of something just because we don't think we can do it. And you know what? I'm going to say it right here now. That is the enemy. That is the devil telling you that you can't. We all have good and bad inside of us. We don't need to listen to those negative, self-limiting beliefs. We don't need to listen at that, because that is keeping us from growth, from elevation, from the life we want. You don't realize you are so close to living the life you want just off of a shred of belief. Because let me tell you this. It's a little story. So I remember it was one time in my life, I was so worrisome, and I was like, oh, I'm not going to pass this class. I'm not going to pass this class. I'm not going to pass this class. And guess what happened? I didn't pass the class. But then I took that very same class, And I went in being like, I have no other option but to pass this class. I will pass this class. And I didn't take no for an answer. And you know what happened? I passed that class and I did exceedingly and abundantly much better than I did on the other. And it's because I had belief. Nothing had changed. I still studied the same way, right? Nothing had changed. The only thing that changed was me. So I'm here to tell you, you are standing in between the life you want to live. The only thing you need to do is act and have that belief that you can do it. I'm sitting here today telling you that is what you need. You don't need, I need other people to just believe in me. No, you need to believe in you first, and all those other people will come. Everything else will come after you believe and you act. You have the power within, and I feel like we keep looking around for like answers from other things and other people, and like the answer is within you. You are the answer. So stop looking to like other people to validate you. Stop looking to other things to validate what is already in you. And so now my purpose is in, and before I even get into that, you have to know, okay, what is my purpose today? Make it a small thing. Don't, think about like, oh, what is my whole overall purpose? No. Because the whole overall purpose is to live the best life you can. That's it, right? But what is your purpose on a day to day? What is it on a month to month? What is it on a year to year, right? And 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 that's different for everybody. But we are not meant to look at our purpose from a bird's eye view. We are meant to look at it each day and be like, okay, how can I make this day the best day? And so forth. How can I make this month the best month? How can I make this year the best year? How can this year be the best? And you start to act on those things that are in your spirit, in your heart, and you just start to move off of that and take certain risks, right? Now, I'm not telling you to risk your life. No, I'm not telling you to do that. So let's not do that. But I'm telling you to take certain risks in your life to get to where you need to be. Doing this, YouTube, podcast, this was a risk. That it's a risk in itself to put yourself out there. And you know what? I'm willing to take that risk to help other people, to help myself, to help heal these wounds inside of me. Like I'm willing to do that because I know doing this on the other side of this is the life that I want to live. And I know through this there is going to be blessings and great things coming from this. So you have to believe it and do that. And so my purpose right now is today is just to be the best me that I can be and to not allow what other people think about me or try to put on me affect me, and to just keep doing what I'm doing and to not self-sabotage myself and to not talk myself out of certain things. Yeah. So so aMaYa's take about the power of purpose is that you know your purpose deep down. You know what you are meant to do, and you don't need anyone else to tell you. What you need to do is get into a quiet place, either journal, talk to a camera, and you don't have to post it, but really figure out, or talk to yourself. Because let me tell you, I talk to myself. This right here is talking to myself. And people used to be like, why you talk to yourself? Why you talk to yourself? I'm not crazy. Let me tell you, I was I was preparing for this, okay? I was preparing for my purpose and talking to myself. I used to talk to myself all the time. I still do. And you know what? That's what I do right now. As I talk to myself, I talk to y'all. And I had to get comfortable. And that is why I'm so comfortable in front of the camera, because I talk to myself. I would talk to myself all the time. In my bed, I would talk to myself. I would have interviews with myself. And that's why I'm so good at what I do right now, is because I've been doing this my whole life. And there are certain things you have done your whole life and you don't even know that that is preparation for your purpose. Think about the smallest little thing that are so intentional in your life, and be intentional. Be so intentional about your life. It is important for you to be intentional. And I'm not saying plan, because planning is different. I'm saying be intentional about what you want and go after those intentional things. And that's going to look different for everybody. But my take on purpose is the power of purpose can and will change your life for the better. Because before I did not know my purpose, I was walking around here blind as a bat. Okay, I was walking around here like Helen Keller. No offense. Okay, no shade. Like that. Just saying, like, no shade, no offense. And the reason why I say Helen Keller is because I was deaf to my own spirit. Like, I was deaf to that little voice and that, like, intuition and discernment. I was deaf to it. I was blind to it. I wasn't paying attention. And I didn't want to at the time, because I wanted to just do what made me feel good. And what makes you feel good isn't always good for you. So the power of purpose can and will change your life for the better. And those small little things that you have done since a child, those are all things that are leading you to your purpose. And you just have to be aware of it. And by being aware of it, that may take spending a lot of time by yourself. That may take spending, because my period of spending time by myself, that was like a year. That was a year. And that year was hard, but it was needed to get to where I'm at right now. And so I am grateful for that year that I had to be completely and utterly by myself in that moment, right? And if you believe in Jesus and you believe in God, God is always with you, right? And so, but I'm meaning physically, I was by myself, and I needed that time to get clear on myself, to get clear about my mind, to have my mind not be cluttered, confused with other people and what they want from me, and vice versa. And I just really needed to know, what do I want from myself? What do I want? What do I need? And that became clearer and clearer as, time went on. As the year went on, I began to enjoy my own company. And you will soon find out, like, oh, this is what I'm going to do, and this is what I'm supposed to do. And oddly enough, and I didn't even make this connection until just now, but I only started this channel from being away from those people. I was not physically around them. And had I stayed around them people, I wouldn't be on your screen today. And it goes to show, making a move of faith and of purpose and of assertion and of conviction is going to work out for you. When you make it out of love for yourself, when you move out of love, good things are bound to happen. And I'm not saying immediately, right? And the good thing isn't like, oh, I'm getting these views on YouTube. No. The good thing is that I chose myself. and is that I am one step closer to just growth and elevation. And yeah, so I could go on and on, but I've been talking for like 40 minutes. So thank you guys so much for watching and for listening. And if you haven't already, please like, comment, and subscribe, and turn on those post notifications so you can be notified every time I post a new video. And if you are listening on whatever platform, thank you so much. Write a review if you can on whatever platform. Follow this podcast page, like it, share it, do all that good stuff. And you already know, stay blessed and stay beautiful, baby.